Thanks for staying with us. We still have with us Alibaba in the building. We're discussing politics, and the reason why politics is important this season is because the election's on Saturday, and everybody's going to be going to the polls. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you is because of your success and your business success, especially in Lagos. I know you're one of the people that when you came to Lagos, there were so many expectations you had, and somehow the system has been able to enable you to build a business and to do so much more. And sometimes Nigerians especially are quick to forget that there's been a process to things. I'd like you to share your experience, especially for somebody who came to Lagos and then did well in Lagos.
Okay, so my entrance into Lagos in two ways. Yeah. So in the 70s, 73 or 74, after the war and everything, my dad transferred his service from being a teacher in Abraka and moved it into Nigerian Army Education Corps. And so, which is the education arm of the Nigerian Army. And so we all moved into Lagos. So I came from Warri. I was born in Warri and then moved to Lagos. And so when we got to Lagos, at that time, we were just having a blast. And then free education came, which is very important for the growth of any economy, or any country at all, any nation. Yeah. Free education was like, and my principal at the time, Mr. Ige, my headmaster at the time of St. Michael's Primary School, Ojo, became a commissioner. And he was very important in the scheme of things because he then worked with the education ministry. And all of us could see that there were people who were bringing their children from states that didn't have free education to Lagos. Yeah. Because of the free education. And it was quality free education. It's not the free education that is like, because it is free, give them anything that they want. And then I go to command, finish, and then I go to university outside Lagos. After the 4 years of my education, I then discovered stand-up comedy. And I came back to Lagos. And so in my over 40 years of being in Lagos, I've seen transformation from the 1977, where I could see and know what was happening around me. I've seen the transformation between that time. And Lagos has grown from the capital city that it was, capital city of the Federation, to a state of its own. A lot of people have said, oh, Lagos benefited from being a state capital. You know, there are still places that have more resources and nothing was done. So it has to be about Lagos benefiting from leadership as well. Because if you had put a goat in office, it will still boo. Is it meh? Yeah, it will still meh all through the way. Until you put a lion, then it will roar. So it is a case of making sure that the leadership understand the needs of the city, understand the need of the state, and preparing the people in the state, especially children, for the future. If you have children that are not educated, because the core part of the growth of Lagos is that people who come in here have a drive and commitment to succeed. Yeah. Which you want excellence in anything that you want to do. So if I were a comedian based in any other part of the country, I may not have been as successful as I am in Lagos, because the indices and the boxes you need to tick to succeed in Lagos are all there. All you need to do is walk around them and tick them properly. So for me, the Lagos that we have now is one that is a fertile ground for any idea that you have to germinate. And until those enabling environments are created by the government, it becomes hard for anybody to succeed. Right. And so those are the things that made me. So I came into Lagos and continue to tick those boxes. Right. One, provide service. Provide quality service. Make sure that you are excellent in everything that you do. You will grow. That's Lagos. Right.
Okay, so let me take you, still within the questions relating to politics, but there is a conversation that happens a lot, the role of leadership in Lagos, the role of a godfather in Lagos, the role of a visionary in Lagos, and you have that role in comedy. Every comedian that is successful credits you with helping them in the industry, giving them contacts, having you to advise. And How do we find that balance that is accepted in some areas, but when it's in politics, people see it as a problem? And what would your response be to those that see it as a problem in Lagos State?
You see, my dad told me something. He said, the person that gives you a link to somewhere will open doors for you. But what you do after that door is opened is left to your capacity. So I can say, oh, I'm sending Bimbo to you. She's a great caterer. I'm not the one that will go there and cook the food that she will cook. So there's a place for recommendations, and there's a place for doing the real job. So if you tell somebody, oh, go to this place and do the person, say, oh, call Bimbo, she can do your hair for you. And then she comes and messes up this thing. You will call the person bad and say, so you recommend, exactly. You say you recommended somebody that couldn't do the job. But you see, good recommendations comes from people who have also tasted power and know where and what to be done. So for me, if you call me now and say, oh, Ali, I have an event. I need so and so person. I'll ask you, is it a corporate event? You say, what kind of people are coming? What's the clientele? What's the customer? What's the kind of people that are coming? The guest list. You give me the guest list, I'll say, okay, I think IK can do this. Oh, I think call Gordon's. Basketmouth can do this one. I think forever. So I'll know who. Based on what I know. So you must know people for you to recommend them. And sometimes you find that eye to find someone who can do this and must come from you too, being competent enough to know who that person is. It's like when they were looking for David. The man had come and seen all the children and told the man, no, the person I'm looking for is not here. You have to find the person.
So a lot of people have said, oh, Alibaba is so APC, he's just one of them, you know, many people have said that you are part of the APC party, that you are campaigning for them.
I'm not part of it. I'm not APC, I'm not Labour, I'm not Kwankwa something.
NNPP.
I'm not, and then I'm not also PDP. But I know all of them. I know all of them. And when it comes to leadership, especially in Lagos, I've told many people that want to hear that I'm for Sanwo. you can say whatever you want to say. I'm for Sanwo because, and that's different. When you now talk about any other party, I'll look at the person that I want to stay in the place, and I'll campaign for that person.
Let me take you to, you want to come jump in?
Yes, so what you just mentioned now reminded me of the conversation I had this morning. And, you know, I was talking and I was explaining why, for me, it's important that we pick candidates and not really political parties, yes. Because when you pick a candidate, you have probably have seen capacity, you have seen true leadership skills, and you feel like, okay, if this person has this opportunity, this and this will happen because I know this person, I've tested, I've trusted, I've tried, and I can say this is how it is. So for you now saying you are for Sanwo, not political party, what are some of the things that you have seen about him that is making you stand?
Okay, one is, I told someone, I said, every 4-year administration has 3 years. You have the first 6 months of the first year, and the last 6 months of the last year are either for elections, and then the first 6 months is for settling in. So it leaves Sanwo with 3 months, 3 years. 3 years. Of those 3 years, you take 1.5 out for COVID. Take 1.5 out for COVID, and then take another 6 months for NSAS. How many months has the man had to really govern Lagos? Not up to 2. He's not had 2 years. But you could see the things that he's done. I sat with some people one time, and the guy said, he's fixing only the roads in VI and in Ikoyi and all those places. So in one meeting that I had with him, he said, Ali, those are the people that have the money. Let's fix it. We can raise the tenement rate, take the money from there, and begin to fix other places. Makes sense. Because if he said, we have numbers in those rural areas, in the interlands of Lagos, but the money you generate from all those places will not be enough. So you're making money in Lagos, But you see those core, those premium places, they are the places where people go to work. So make that place okay, and then you begin to move down. There are people also who do not take into cognizance the workload that he took on for COVID. The workload he took on for COVID. Don't forget that the handover was troublesome when he took over from Ambode. So after taking over from Ambode, there had to be realignment.
Yes, a lot.
And that realignment took over 6 months. Because you now have to, people who were still there loyal to the last person, you have to filter all those people out and put your people that you know can do or push the... And continuity is also important, especially in Lagos. One of the reasons that Lagos had grown as it is because of continuity. And so for me, the reason, like, to answer your question directly, the reason that I think that I decided I'll vote so is because I think he's someone who has gone through the mill. He's worked through most of the ideas and projects that you see now. He's had a hand in most of them. Before he became, he was a special advisor. He was working on a lot. I've worked with him on the, you know, a lot of people are talking about entertainment now. When we did, during Fashola's time, when we did a review of the creative industry, and we came up to the fact that about 3 billion was spent every weekend. 3 billion. This was in 2008.
On shows and...
Shows, fashion,
Wine,
parties, venue, MCs, comedians, bands, and catering. All of those. That amount. But you see, between that time and now, it has risen to 14 billion.
Wow.
Every weekend.
Wow.
And the chunk of that 14 billion now, about like 2-3 billion of it, goes to drinks.
Are you sure that it's still 14 billion since Emefiele did this show? Can be.
Oh my
Okay.
It might have
And I heard you talk about 11,500 for
15,000.
For 15,000.
Yeah.
You see, that also is part of that industry. Money exchangers, those money exchangers at parties, they are also part of that economy. There's a guy whose business it was to always change monies.
Yeah.
And so all through Mondays to Thursday, while you people are doing your work, he's going to different banks to get new notes until this Emefiele thing now happened.
It should have affected
Everything.
I'll come to you talk in a second. One of the reasons why what I would like to hear from you also is the division that happened in Lagos. I mean, it's so painful because we lived together. Different people have come to Lagos, are doing well, and suddenly politics is around, and everybody's not remembering, oh, I am Chinese, oh, I'm Japanese, oh, I'm from the East, I'm from the West. I'm thinking, I thought
I had an event one time and in Alausa when Tinubu was the governor, and I was MC, Papiluwe, Benga Deboye, and all of them, and then the yellow guy.
can't remember his name.
Babe Lesho.
Yeah.
And so when I was working as the MC, I was introducing the people. So I called Tauri Koka to come and speak. So Tauri Koka finished his speech, and I went backstage. And I said, oh, yeah, Emurao, Mark Bensinyo. Benga Deboye said, we didn't saw you back. So I became an MC.
Yes.
In the government house more times than I was in Delta State.
That can only happen in Lagos.
Only Lagos.
I was more of an MC in River State during Odili's time than I was in Delta. The bulk of whatever I have now is in Lagos. Now, I'll round up by saying, you see, when you want to fly in a plane, when you buy your ticket and board, you don't ask where the pilot is from. When they push your wife into the labor room and she's lying there, you don't say, please, this doctor, is he from Ekiti?
Exactly.
You know, you don't. You just get, or you book an Uber, the guy comes and you say, you are Yoruba? No, sorry, I don't want a Yoruba driver. You want someone that will take you to a place.
Yeah.
If you're looking for directions, you won't say, oh, unless I find someone who speaks my language. I will not. So that's not it. This is about competence. This is about competence, it's about continuity, it's about capacity of the person that we're voting for. So it's not about party. It's not about party. Please get that clear. I'm not APC.
Yeah.
Not a card-carrying member. I work for APC. It's just like somebody was telling me the other time, why are you supporting this thing? I said, Shebi, this is TVC. If PDP bring advert, you carry it. They'll pay.
Yeah.
If APC bring advert, they pay.
It's business.
It's business.
You know, the Fashola reminded me yesterday that in Lagos State, many people voted for Jonathan. Remember when we voted? So we're also surprised that, about the numbers that came in Lagos. But have we forgotten quickly?
People voted.
That people voted.
Lagos voted for
Jonathan. So people they were telling him that, Uncle, this one, we can't vote for your party this week. Next week, don't worry, your own election, we'll vote for you. But this one, no, I'm voting for Jonathan. So we shouldn't be so surprised about the numbers we saw in Lagos. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, I'll come to you, Takwe. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing politics in Lagos with Alibaba. Takwe had a question.
Yeah, so, you know, since I came back, it's just, the conversation is just, everybody I'm talking to is always what's happening in Lagos after the presidential election, the divide, the youth bloc. You know, Mariah and I were discussing, and she was like, we know there is a youth bloc, we know there is the educated elites bloc, and then we have the political people that are politicians. So I was like, and then there's the religious, the part of Christian or Muslim bloc, and I feel like I've been really a bit icked by the level of backlash that the governor has been getting concerning his tour. You know, over since last week, it's been going on.
Yeah, he's going to come do my plumbing very soon.
It's been going on tours and trying to connect with the people, and I'm seeing social media people saying that no, he shouldn't have that. Why is he doing that? It's just because of politics. We got the award and he said he's giving us because of politics, and I'm like, no, we got it last year. It wasn't because of politics. How would you address the fact that he seemed to be trying really hard to connect with the people? Would you say that's the right approach, or you feel like, Mr. Governor, you don't need all this?
Okay, so the thing is that Mr. Governor now knows that there's protest votes. And protest votes were what swung the elections to Labour in Lagos. And the protest votes are from students who sat home for 6 months. Protest votes is for lecturers who have not been paid. Protest votes is from people who expect a lot from the Buhari administration and did not get it. And so all of those, and then the NSAS bloc are still there as well. And then you also have the protest votes for people who say, let's break away from godfatherism. So those are the people he's going up against. And so if he has to go up against this one, if his 2 years service, because I told you that he didn't have first 2 years. Let's take 2 years out of it. From COVID, NSAS, the gridlock in Apapa and all of that, and then the flooding and all of that. If you take those 2 years out, the other 2 years, it's strong enough for him to campaign with. But when you are going up against a tidal wave of protest votes, you have to do a bit more.
Yeah. To show more.
To show more. You know, sometimes it is not that people are not saying, he didn't do well. They're just saying, let's break from the norm.
Yes.
But you know, Lagos will do better with continuity. Lagos will do better with continuity. We know how the thing affected Bayelsa when Jonathan became president, and all his projects were abandoned by the next person who took over from him, because that person wanted to make his own mark. You know, but when you have a spreadsheet of development plan and you are following it bit by bit, one step after the other, you need continuity to drive all of that.
What do you think we can do? Because what really disturbs me is the ethnicity, the Igbo, Yoruba, that is happening in Lagos right now. I can't, you know, it's never been this bad. How can he deal with this situation? Because you know, we've always lived as one people, but now it's like, no.
Let me add, that was similar to my next question, because as I said, I did an IG live with Fashola yesterday, and he said that there's the politics of identity globally, across the world, where you haven't, even the Brexit, there's been issues of, oh, this is our land, this is what we want, the people are divided. Even we saw it during the Trump said, everybody now wants to be heard, wants to be seen, wants to be saying, I am important, I live here, you know. So how does a government, in addition to what Waike just said, confront politics of identity? It's not about what you've done, how to judge a good person.
Exactly.
Are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim?
Can I identify with you?
Is it Yoruba or is it Igbo? That's the politics Nigerians are playing.
Do you look like me?
You see, most times...
Which is very disturbing, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. You see, most times people who play those cards do not employ based on those cards when they have organizations.
Before.
They don't. When they have organizations, they don't say, oh, the person I must employ must be... I had a driver one time. Reckless driver. After costing me so much money, I said I was sacking him. My mom said, hey, the only robo driver where you get, the only robo driver where you get, you want sack of Marco. No, now your eye for the house, so. So I now brought another driver who took over from him, and the driver was doing very well. And I now told my mom, I said, Mommy, you know, she said this driver, they do better. Well, not be robo, but they try. So you find...
Yeah. So it's there.
So it's there. Yeah. It's innate, you know. So. But the thing is, when you then look at the overall good of the society, you then go beyond. So I bet a lot of people would have said, you can't make Joseph head of Egypt now. Kilo day.
He's not an Egyptian.
He's not an Egyptian. But you see, this boy has interpreted dreams and
he had capacity.
Beyond that, even when he was in prison,
he was a leader.
He was a leader. He did not hold it back and say, because I'm here, anybody that has dreams should go and die. No. So you need someone who also can go beyond where he's from and deliver on it.
Fantastic.
There's some people who would have said,
Alibaba, so taking from what you have said now, so I would like us to see Nigeria as our own company, right? Our own organization. And you are the leader. You want to make a decision for Saturday. And you tell yourself, if in my company, these people who are contesting, about 3 or 4 of them that I know, I bring them and I want to employ them to handle this position. Who do I think in my head, based on their CV and what I think they've done, who in my head will deliver and make me make profits?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. If I were to choose, right, and you had Sanwo, and you had the Doherty guy. If I had protest votes, I would have voted Doherty.
Okay.
But in the scheme of things as it is, for continuity and for competence and what this guy stands for and what he's done, in the little time that he had, there's no other choice.
You know, he's actually, I've met him. You know, he's actually...
Which one of them?
No, someone...
okay.
He's actually a great guy. If you meet him, he's nice. I like him. You know, but he's got a bad rap. We have to look at it. When we talk of NSAS, we talk of godfatherism. How can he beat that rap?
It is in beating that rap and convincing people with what he has done. That's why he's going from place to place. But by the way, the photograph of the mechanic thing was the other element.
Yeah, even the hairstylist was.
They're just bringing out everything.
So they're just bringing everything out now. So, but you see, the man has carried on. Look at the damage. You see, when I say protest votes, there are people who are here in this country who feel like because Okada was banned, and because some bosses were told you can't ply so and so route, when that NSAS thing happened, I read the report now, some of the people that burnt the buses were Okada riders.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Because the thing is, you're fighting competition.
So it's protest.
It's protest votes. So he's going to go against protest votes. So you need to now sit back and say, okay, if it were not for these other grudges that you have, place side by side.
Who will deliver?
Who will deliver?
Yeah. What Waike said, we need to, because one of the things the pleasure we've had on this show is that we've interviewed all the contests, like all the major candidates. And while everybody has their good strength, I want us to address some of the things Waike said, which is the obvious weaknesses, the things that they use in attacking the current governor. One of the things that are seen as his major weaknesses is loyalty. They feel that he was too loyal to our president-elect, that he was too, his loyalty was too much. He was always around. He was campaigning with the man, like, why are you campaigning with him? Like, you're not facing your own campaign. So they attacked his loyalty. They attacked...
Let me interrupt again. You know that it is because he didn't have time to campaign for himself that he had to turn it up this much.
Yeah, now... Yeah,
because there was the party campaign.
Yes,
the campaign is not even personal, it's party.
Yeah,
the party is already running at the presidential. If you don't, if they lose that one, you don't even have a possibility. So it was important for him to focus on that.
But they see that as a weakness for him, that he was too loyal. There's a weakness of humility. You know that the humility of our governor in Lagos State has been attacked several times. Remember the case where he came to Magodo and they said, see the way they spoke to the governor. There was another situation, like they said the governor is too, I like that about him, but people see it as he's not...
The law is the law. He is not in charge of the police.
So,
he's not in charge of the army. So,
based on what
I want you to address those weaknesses, because, and I wish we can all just talk about it, because the weakness of his loyalty, the weakness of his humble, and the weakness of the fact that NSAS happened, and they will always ask who gave the order for the shooting, and that would always come up.
The question has been answered several times.
Over and again, and people will still... And I'm like,
so my question always, when I hear this, is like, what do we want? Do we want a nation or not want a nation? Because you've asked the question, somebody has said, what do we need exactly? Because if I want to focus on the issues, have you fixed your hospitals? How is Ilera Eko doing? How many people are there? How is it progressing?
How is Eko Excel?
How is Eko Excel doing?
My staff.
I'll come to you now. I have one data that shows about 305, I think it was last year or 2 weeks ago, where you have children leaving low-income public schools. No, low-income private schools are moving to public schools. We have the data where they've moved. So there's things happening, but we don't want to say that. We rather look at, he's not humble, he's too loyal. Like, we're focusing on those issues.
There's an English word that says, call a dog a bad name to hang it.
Yes.
Call a dog a bad name to hang it. You see, when it comes to talking about health,
yes, research center.
When I was admitted at the infectious disease center in Yaba during COVID, and I didn't want to go, but when my breath now started going, I said, let's go. So I went. But you see, when I finished everything and checked out, free. I know people who also went to private hospitals that spent close to 3 million. That went to private hospitals to get treated for COVID. And the battle in Lagos at that time, nobody was saying, oh, this governor is in APC or in PDP or anything. You were just about what he delivered. He stood up and did the job. Meanwhile, when he took over as governor, he didn't plan for that. So what you need is someone who will step up to the plate when anything arises.
Okay. Let's leave.
That's why I.
Let's
Anthony was going to talk about
I'm on Ilera Eko. My staff, we paid for, I can't remember how many, but now my staff just go to the hospital and it's free because I paid that first initial bulk sum, which I have to renew every year. But I can vouch for
Ilera
Eko because my staff
working.
You know,
but people don't want to see the issues. They rather focus on those issues that. But let's
personalities.
I also need to talk about my real estate space.
I
do real estate, and I've been saying it every time that I told the governor that I use his videos to do marketing. That people have become billionaires within Ekpe, and all of that happened between Ambode and Sanwo Olu. Ambode started the work in Ekpe. And the continuity made Sanwo Olu continue every good work. And every time he goes there, he gives a very nice speech. And all my fellow colleagues in the real estate space just munch the script of the video of what he said and use it to advertise. And we're seeing a lot happen in an area that is so remote that we could say this is not even Lagos. But they opened up Ekpe and created a real estate hub in that space, and a whole lot more going on there, and that's just because someone, and we have to keep talking about all these other areas, and then maybe you can then.
But you see, like water transport is one very, you know, I used to have some guys, when I was building my station, there were guys who were coming from Ikorodu. Yeah. One of them said he was afraid of water. He gets to the office 10 a.m. The ones that were not afraid of water get to the office 7:30 because they take that boat from Ikorodu straight to Mobile, what's it called? Oriental, where Oriental is. They just take the boat over and they said in 1 hour they're there. If you notice is it Lamata? What the transport, the water transport?
Yeah.
Loma. No, Loma. The refuge there. Okay, so the...
I'll get it out.
Laswa.
So that's it there now. So Laswa, you find that the water transportation is now better. People move from different place to another place, and it's in record time. The water transportation is much better. What we need is someone to continue in that trend. And I think that when you look at the things that Sanwo has done, it just shows that if you give him another 4 years, he will do much more than he's done. And we pray there's no other pandemic.
Let's move away from Sanwo for a second, because I wanted you to touch on the pastors that have predicted elections so far. You know, it's always interesting.
And still predicting.
And they're still predicting, because many of them are holding on to the fact that something will still happen. You know how pastors can be
something can still happen. Let's not. Something can still happen because Supreme Court is the one that will determine what everything is. It depends on what you present in front of the Supreme Court. Yeah, the tribunal is still open. So that one is but those of them who made it look like this prediction is that I think that for some now it's important to know that not everybody sees. And not everybody hears. Because the ones that have heard that, you have a child before the end of this year, and the person, they now want to give you reasons why you didn't have the child. So,
God changed his mind.
Yes, so one said, you're going to become a billionaire. And that other thing that they do in church, that please, they should stop. We say, before the end of this year, that you will become a billionaire.
Everybody will screaming, amen.
Shoemaker.
And they don't have jobs.
I'm not rubbishing the job that the person is doing, but you know, if you go by what you do as shoemaker, billionaire is not the word for it. All right? Or in 6 months, you'll be traveling out of this country. Oh, need passport.
The reason why I raised that, let me put some clarity here, because the reason why I raised that is because many people are holding on to what the pastor says to determine what they vote on Saturday. Or, you know, people are saying, based on what my church has said, we're doing, because religion really came into politics this time. I mean, in the past, people seem to make their own decisions. Well, this election, between the last 3 weeks one and this one...
But you know that this election now, pastors are not saying, don't vote for Sanwo.
But their body language, if you talk...
No. They're not saying...
They have not seen the recent prediction.
For the presidential, they did that.
Yes.
But for this one a lot of them know that he has done well.
There is...
You know?
I saw one yesterday. I saw a prediction yesterday.
Let me take you back. Because, like I said, personally, I think he's a great guy. But look at that train thing, the blue line, red line.
Red line.
They made so much fanfare about, they are bringing it on, But the train is still there, parked. So now I'm going by someone who is not a Sanwo Olu fan, who said to me, see this thing. Why are they parking it? Why is it not working? Why? You know, these are the things that should have been working.
Let me even try.
So, before she lets that go, you know, when it comes to rail, there are a lot of things that you then see and you have to sort out. For instance, when...
Alibaba, just let me pause you for a second, because the custodian of that, the Lamata woman that came here, was very specific. She told us, she gave us the answer to that question, that they're actually doing test running between now and April. Yeah. Because what they want to do, they want us, every Nigerian, they're bringing different, they've even invited ladies of abuse, they put a letter to us. They want you to enter, buy the cowrie card, put your money in, let people see how it works, flow with it to the end, and then come back. Then they're going to put, they took some children from school, kids to school, they brought different groups. So they're taking different groups till April, after which the train will now start. So that's really the answer to that question, where
there's a process for that.
Yes, there's a process. So I want to get to that point. You see, when Amechi was talking about rail across the country and everything, somebody said, how come the rail from this, all this? You see, a lot of our bridges were built and they were low. If you go to Costain, you see that they had to raise the bridge because if your train wouldn't have passed because they had to raise the train track itself from the ground, and because the trains are now heavier, you now make heavier tracks. And in doing the heavier tracks, and your train is higher than the ones that you had before, you have to raise the bridge. So a lot of infrastructure have to be changed. But this one, you're building it from the scratch.
Right.
And the stretch that they're doing to Okokomaiko, it means that it's going to change all of that and then reduce traffic on the road so that when the construction of the road starts, the alternative would have kicked off.
Available.
Which is what they're suffering right now on that Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is suffering because the alternative was not done first before the major repairs started on the main road. So you have to create alternatives first. For the red and the blue rail, I believe that there's a phase that they are going through, and as soon as it's done, that things will be...
All right, so we're going to be wrapping up soon. Let me just take a few comments on social media, take a few calls and see what your thoughts are. And as we take a few comments, Alibaba, let me just hear your what you say to
what's happening in Delta.
what?
Oh, Delta. They had a debate yesterday.
Politics in Delta.
Yes, politics.
They had a debate yesterday. I watched it, and Ogboru is running, I think, for the 6th time or something.
Yes. He was running since I was in university.
He's an athlete. Ogboru has been running.
He never still win.
And then one guy there made the mention and said, when I was in secondary school, you were running.
Yes, in the university.
Now you're running, so step down for me. So
wow.
that I can. This was on the debates.
Wow.
But I think that Delta is going to be very swing. Is a swing state that is going to happen. Whether it's APC, whether it's Labour, or something is changing in Delta.
So let me ask this question, or just tell us what you think about it. A lot of people are planning to pay Sanwo Olu evil for what they believe the party has done to Nigerians as a whole. So they are not picking him as an individual candidate. They are picking him as a member of the party, and they're outlining all the things the APC party has done against Nigerians, the policies that have not worked and everything. So they are using that now to say, we like you as a person, oh. We believe you have worked well, oh. But for the fact that you are on the platform of APC, we will not vote for you. What would you say to such people?
I think that we need to separate that, you know, what's that proverb they say? You don't throw the baby
and the
bathwater. We know that that was not changed in the presidential election, so that has been sorted. There are many people that I've spoken with that have said, for presidency, I'm not voting APC, but for Lagos, I will vote APC. So there are many people like that.
Okay.
There are many people that I was talking with, they said, you know, I have to support APC because of my business. When it comes to Lagos, I will do this one. But for presidency, no. But for my business in Lagos, I'll support. So there are many reasons that people have for supporting Sanwo. Mine is that continuity is one, competence is another, and then someone who has been ingrained in making development happen. Though in the background, when he was in LSDPC, we saw the change that he brought in as soon as he became the MD of LSDPC. And every other place that he has worked. He's worked on so many committees in different aspects. So that is...
He's been in government since Asiwaju's period.
Yeah, since Asiwaju's period. From the time he moved from the bank.
Yes.
You know?
You know, Fashola said something on my IG Live yesterday. He was saying that the APC welcomes the competition. Absolutely. But if you're going to unseat an APC, you must come with a superior argument. You must have that be something you're bringing to the table that is superior to what you've seen on ground. Because it's politics and there's competition all the way.
So what happens is when you are doing protest votes, you don't count all those. When you are, it's like when a woman is angry and says, and you say, this car that you want to break, don't break the windscreen now. You'll be charged for destruction of property. But because of the anger at that time,
break it first.
Just break it first.
Yeah.
And then
we reason later.
Later, when I say,
but why is it when a woman is angry? Why is it not when a man is angry?
But we can't afford
but
we can't afford that breaking of glass.
Okay, wait. Let me go to another way. So you have an accident that happens, and then this man comes out of his car because an S-Class hit his Camry. He takes a jack. Lights, side mirror, this one, that one. And then the owner of the car says, okay, I hit your bumper, Abi. Call the person, bring new bumper, fix, okay.
You've used anger to...
Fix my own. And then it now becomes, it's because I was angry.
He was the devil.
The devil is in the detail.
Yeah.
Buy my own lights. And then you hear that the price of the side mirror is your Toyota Corolla.
It's your rent. It's your rent. So, so it's like, so if you are protesting votes, we must be careful.
No, protest vote is dangerous. Protest vote is dangerous. It's without reason sometimes. When you have a protest vote, not without reason like that. It's because of this hurt that we feel, because of NSAS, because of the fact that you are related to the president-elect, because you are in APC. Like one guy told me, if Sanwo was in Labour, I would have voted for him. If Sanwo was in any other party, I would have voted for him. Is that APC gone?
So you now bring somebody who is inexperienced. Let's just imagine it. Bringing somebody who is completely inexperienced, who has let's just put it there. I don't care. As long as I've removed APC, I don't care. As long as I've removed APC, I'll not put somebody who I'm not even sure of. Is that what we're thinking? Is that the protest? What protest vote gives us?
Sometimes it is not about the person's inexperience. Joseph was inexperienced, like I mentioned before. But the thing is that you will see that there's wisdom in the things that he does.
He has shown
capacity in different ways. So I believe that in this case, he's shown his competence. He's shown that he can do this. Forget about the fact that, maybe APC wronged you nationally. But for Lagos, Sanwo is the
all right, we have to wrap it in.